Okay, so we've literally all been there, right? You're staring at a mountain of short form videos, just knowing they could absolutely blow up in a new market. If only the localization process wasn't such a massive headache. Well, today we're diving into an explainer of a highly structured, super specific translation workflow that takes content from, generic placeholder text all the way to fully customized Urdu clips. Instead of getting bogged down by clunky, endless back and forth emails or, messy spreadsheets, this source material outlines a genuinely streamlined system. It's totally designed to keep things moving. We're going to look at the exact parameters that make it tick and explore why building strict constraints into a workflow actually frees you up to create and publish way faster. Need Urdu translations for your clips? I mean, it sounds like a simple question, right? But as you probably know, adapting content for new demographics usually kicks off an absolute logistical nightmare. You end up with, 12 different versions of a text document named something like final underscore v3 underscore actually final underscore I promise.docx, and half the translations don't even match the timing of the original footage. It's a mess. The workflow we're examining today targets this exact chaos. It completely validates the real need for speed and precision, offering a really strict, structured path to getting your message ready for an Urdu-speaking audience without making you jump through a dozen technical hoops. Now, the entire system is anchored by one very specific constraint, and that is the number 10. The source material establishes that this process is meticulously engineered to handle batches of exactly 10 clips at a time. No more, no less. So you might be wondering, why limit it? Well, in the localization industry, batching is pretty much a standard practice to prevent quality assurance bottlenecks. Think about it. If you dump 100 clips into a system all at once, cognitive load spikes, tiny errors slip through, and the whole system just kind of overloads. By strictly chunking the work into manageable groups of 10, the workflow stays organized, it stays lightning fast, and honestly, it prevents you from drowning in endless revisions. Right alongside that batch size, we are anchored to a very specific media format, the 10-second video. So yeah, this workflow isn't built for your feature-length documentaries or deep dive lectures. Interestingly enough, data actually often shows that 10-second videos have some of the absolute highest completion rates across social platforms. That makes them prime real estate for cross-cultural reach. Because the timeline is so super tight, the translations literally have to be optimized for immediate consumption. Limiting the scope to just 10 seconds ensures the final output is punchy, impactful, and it forces a level of brevity that pretty much guarantees the audience stays hooked. Okay, so once a batch is actually processed, retrieving that text needs to be completely frictionless. And the source outlines a brilliantly straightforward solution for this, a unified copy button. Rather than forcing you to, download clunky CSV files, untangle messy text documents, or manually highlight paragraph after paragraph, the whole shebang is kept entirely inside your clipboard. You literally just click once, and boom, you've grabbed the Urdu translations for the entire batch of 10 clips simultaneously. It completely cuts out all that administrative busywork of file management and lets you move straight to the fun part, the final step of publishing. The true core of this system really hinges on a very deliberate transition. You basically start out in a sort of waiting room, populated by what the source calls holders. These are the initial placeholders that establish the overall framework of your project. But the real magic, the real utility, happens when you graduate from those generic markers to your actual original clips. The workflow basically uses those placeholders to map out the timing and structure. This ensures that when the customized translations finally arrive, they slot perfectly into the final destination of your publication-ready videos. It's like a giant puzzle, and all the edge pieces are already put together for you. Moving on, the source text highlights what it flags as an important note. Now, this right here functions as the crucial pivot point in the entire workflow. It is the exact moment where basic automation gives way to actual customization. It clarifies that to upgrade from those generic placeholders to the bespoke Urdu translation for your specific footage, an active handover is required. Think of it as a built-in checkpoint, just making absolutely sure you have the correct framework in place before you inject your own unique content into the pipeline. So what does this active handover actually look like in practice? Well, step 1 involves utilizing that handy copy button for your initial batch of 10 placeholders, just to set the stage. Then step 2 is where you actually send over your original clips. And finally, in step 3, the system processes that submission and generates the Urdu conversion right into a new unified copy box. It is a totally straightforward sequence, deliberately designed to eliminate any and all guesswork. You just provide the raw material, and the workflow hands back the perfectly localized text. Seamless, right? Now, a totally massive, highly practical takeaway from step 2 is this dual input capability. You can submit your original clips in either Hindi or English, and from a workflow perspective, guys, this is a total game changer because it completely removes the need for a middleman translator. You don't have to awkwardly convert Hindi video into English text first just to localize it into Urdu. Nope, the system handles both languages natively, outputting what the source promises to be excellent Urdu directly from the original audio. It literally flattens the entire linguistic pipeline. So, when you really break down the mechanics, the strict batching, the 10-second format constraint, and of course, those native dual language inputs, you see a system built purely to eliminate the friction of localization. Adapting content just doesn't have to be a sprawling, chaotic mess of files and endless email threads anymore. So it leaves us with an incredibly interesting thought to chew on as we wrap up this explainer. When translation workflows become this streamlined and this incredibly fast, the question isn't really how to reach a new demographic. The real question is, what's stopping you from taking your content global today?